Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Oh, how we've waited to bring our All-Stars to sunny California. It might be virtual, but bring your sunscreen because we've arrived to Sonoma Raceway, located in California in the United States of America, and it hosts the 5th round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. All coverage today on the iRacing Esports Network from Jonathan Simon. Welcome to the coverage. I'm alongside Paul Smith. And Paul, welcome to Wine Country. You've got a glass of vino ready, I'm sure. And remember, they always say a glass of wine keeps the doctor away. But some rallycross and a glass and a dose of rallycross certainly doesn't keep the doctors away with all the car contact.
Yeah, with the high-octane action that we get here, it's certainly going to be excellent. And these All-Stars, they've been producing some great action out there on track. I've thoroughly enjoyed covering these All-Star events before our World Championship races. And today proves to be another good one.
And here is the track layout. We'll talk you through all the corner names here. You've got the bowling alley where the start begins at the bottom, and it's one of the only racetrack, I should say it's the only racetrack on our calendar that has more than a 50% dirt split, and it's a driver's favorite. It's going to be critical in terms of slowdown penalties and so much more. Look out for the Joker Delta.
About the iRacing service, I have actually raced against Mr. Baccarat.
Nice.
And beaten him as well in a race. Granted, two other drivers did wipe him out, but I'll still take that as a victory.
It always counts, mate. It always counts. Just like we saw last week in the All-Stars. He's made a mockery of the final corner. There's the jump here. So let's try and ride on board for the lap. Hopefully he stays out there. This is the drag racing strip at Sonoma. And he's going to head into what's known as the carousel. This is normally completely tarmac, but for Rallycross here virtually, we cover it in dirt. Now don't touch those anti-cut strips. That's going to be critical. iRacing will hand you an automated slowdown penalty. It's not the driver stewards who do that. It's by an automatic detection coming out of the carousel and into the start straight here, which we call the bowling alley, and you'll see why when we begin the races here today as the drivers bottleneck into the chute, Joker to the right-hand side, and that is a lap of Sonoma as you complete it around the jump here to end a trip. What a delightful racetrack, Paul. We're expecting lap times around that 40-second range for our All-Stars. It's currently Scott Speed on pole. And remember, last round at Hell Lunkenbahnen, Connor Martell was the first driver to break Scott Speed's pole streak. He's back at it again, back in P number 1.
I mean, he's so good at Scott Speed in these rallycross cars on the service here on iRacing. Sage Karam, another really good racer. He's up there in second place. He's really going to be a one to push him all the way. Good to see Brandon Semenek back there as well. Third place in qualifying. He's not that far off as well. And Kevinson Swindell as well. Fourth place. Great stuff from him so far in qualifying.
So far, the Yokohama Pole Award, like we said, will go to Scott Speed. Yokohama Excellence by Nature. You can visit yokohamatire.com. And as always, it's awarded to the fastest driver in qualifying. Brilliant to see Connor Martell challenge him for pace, but now he's fallen down to 6th. So how this is going to work today, as usual, Paul, we're going to have a couple of heats. We're going to have a Marwin Sports LCQ for the drivers who don't advance to your final feature race. And then that final feature race will include 10 drivers. So we're going to take drivers from the heats, from the Marwin Sports Last Chance qualifier, and then we're going to go for the big points. Now, only the top 5 results for the All-Stars series count towards your championship. Scott Speed, though, will be actually delighted about that because I reckon by the end of this campaign, he may have 5 P1s next to his name.
It's a good way of keeping all of the drivers still involved in this series, though, isn't it? Keeping them in the championship, giving them those drop scores to be able to take those. So, but yeah, Scott Speed, such a strong position for him there out there in the championship. But we're getting ready for heat number 1.
It's already begun. Time to look at your grid for Heat 1 here from Sonoma. And it includes Scott Speed on pole position alongside Kevin Swindell. Remember, Kevin was on the podium last week. Only the top 2 advance from this heat to your feature race. Andreas Bakkerud in his first race for the All-Star Invitational will start alongside them on the front row. It's 3 on the front row. How the grid works here, it's 3 by 2 by 3 by 2, and those are your 10 drivers for the feature. Behind then, Mason Filippi, who scored very well here at Daytona for round 1. Mario Bonfanni Jr., a quadriplegic who's actually racing through the use of his hands. That's how he's going to accelerate and brake and change gears. It's exciting stuff. And Steve Arpin, Red Bull GRC winner, ready to go from the back. This is the bowling alley. This is Sonoma. The 5th round of the All-Star Invitational is about to go green. Away the drivers go, screaming into the first braking zone. Scott Speed on the inside. Got the advantage here on Swindell. They're going to have to form up here as the track bottlenecks. Bakkerud's doing well, and he's found his way up the inside of Kevin Swindell. That's Andreas Bakkerud fighting for the 2nd position. And ironically, on the drag strip, they are going to drag race to turn 1.
Oh, look at that side-by-side. Bakkerud to the inside. And that's it, up into 2nd place. Now they can use that joker lap whenever they feel like it. They can't take it the first time by. After that, they can now take that joker lap. But Scott Speed already pulling away at the front.
Now remember, it's an inverted top 10 for your feature. So if Scott Speed wins this, he's going to start from last. But he doesn't mind it. He enjoys the fun, as this is technically the first lap here. So they can take the joker this time by. The previous trip was lap 0 in a sense. And it's Speed from Bakkerud, from Swindell. Your order. Steve Arpin's fallen down the back of the pack, but Mario Bonfanni Jr. is in last, as Kevin Swindell takes the joker and finds his way ahead of Scott Speed.
Now, if you're Scott Speed, you take the joker this lap. You don't want to get held up by Kevin. Take the joker and get yourself back in front there to give yourself some clear space.
So let's see if Scott Speed takes the joker this trip round. He's got to. Now, Kevin Swindell's actually pulling a bit of a gap on him. There's Speed to the entrance of the joker lap. He should appear ahead of Kevin Swindell, and there is the Subaru Motorsports USA driver in the lead. And Bakkerud also finds his way into 2nd. Critical for the transfer spots.
Yeah, that was a very simple play. He needed to do that. He needed to pull the trigger on that one. But Swindell and Bakkerud, they're not done fighting here. Swindell looking to the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of rubbing. But still, great action here.
It's a free pass, isn't it? It's not a get out of jail free card, but it's a little quick, fresher breath air. A breath of fresh air, I should say. Whoops. As Bakkerud heads to the final corner. Swindell's got some pace, Paul. You got to give it to him. But whether or not he can actually make a pass here, he'll be delighted to know that Sonoma was voted amongst our sim races in the World Championship, which is coming up after this. It was voted as one of the easiest tracks to overtake on.
Yeah, and it's one of the drivers' favourites as well because of the high-speed nature of it, because of the sweeping corners. You can really throw this car about, and that's exactly what we're seeing out there. Everybody has taken their joker lap, so we have got the correct... Oh, Kevin, no!
Kevin Swindell, who led the feature race on the first lap last week, he's right in the way of Steve Arpin. The shot just changed there. I don't want to see the end result to that. That's Mason Filippi for Brian Herter Autosport, who's now taken the 3rd position. This is still critical for grid position, and we're actually hearing word behind the scenes they didn't actually wreck after that disgusting shot we saw of a car sideways. Final lap, though, for Scott Speed. And unless he does something similar to Swindell, he'll run away starting from the back in our inverted top 10 for the feature.
But he's showing his class here, isn't he? He's showing how good he is in the sim. And but it is great to see how other drivers have really been improving here in this All-Star event.
Scott Speed, who is a 4-time Rallycross champion, 3 in GRC, 1 in ARX. He won 4 of them in a row, and he may do it here this season in the All-Star Invitational. Who's going to stop the American? Bakaru, the Norwegian, joins him in the feature. The rest head to your Marwin Sports LCQs. We've had some last-minute jokers going on. There's Kevin Swindell, who's fallen into trouble. Steve Arpin there, Paul, is actually ahead of Kevin Swindell at the line.
And don't forget, that's crucial for the LCQ. Get yourself a good grid position for the LCQ there.
So final results up on screen as we see Speed and Bakaroot advance. And we're going to head to your Heat 2 grid. Good performance there by Bofade Jr. He's improving week to week. Sage Karam, who won here at Daytona for the first round of the All-Star Invitation, alongside Tyler Meninga. Rest of the grid up on screen. Welcome back to Travis Pastrana. Welcome back to Bilko Williams. He fell into technical issues last week and actually missed the grid a couple of times. Chris Atkinson as well, racing from the back. Former World Rally driver himself as the grid.
Yeah, drove for Subaru as one of the teams that he drove for in the World Rally Championship, Chris. So experienced on the loose stuff.
Yeah, I got a bit... I was stuttering there a bit. I thought the race was about to begin, so I got a bit excited. But you're correct. Competed for around about a decade for Subaru. And representing Team Yokohama here today is Chris Atkinson, the Aussie from Bega, Australia. A place renowned for its delightful cheese. Here we go. Heat number 2 of the All-Star Invitational. Underway here is Sage Karam in the Dreyer and Reinbold Subaru. Gets away well. Somebody's turned around. That was Mikey Lawrence from 3rd. He's going to fall down to the back of the pack. Everybody's trying to force their way through here. But so far, it's Sage Karam from Tyler Meninga in 2nd. Bilko Williams is in 3rd. Best of the rest.
Yeah, and just that little error at the start there at the end of the bowling alley has just separated your field. Wow, that's wild from Chris Atkinson running out wide there. A good move from Travis Pastrana down the inside of Mikey Lawrence. It's up to 4th for Travis.
I just want to see a clean round for Travis Pastrana. He has had no luck in these All-Star Invitational events, and we'll see if it goes his way, as Sage Karam looks to be untouched here. Doesn't take to the Joker, interestingly enough here, as behind in the background, I'm just looking on a different set of eyes here. Travis Pastrana's made his way through the Joker, but he's not into a transfer position. There is the Subaru driver right ahead of Bilko Williams. And there is the totem on the left-hand side of the screen. So if you're new to the All-Star Invitational, that Joker Lap graphic, it'll light up when the driver crosses the start-finish line. It's not instant.
Yeah, absolutely. The simulation just confirms as they cross the line, yep, they have taken that Joker Lap. Look at how close they're running to these concrete walls, though, when they're sliding through into the bowling alley. That certainly really shows how much these drivers are pushing. More drivers to the Joker. Tyler Meninga has taken to the Joker, has gone to the head of your field now.
And that's a problem for Sage Karam there. I would have taken the Joker if I was Karam. You got the shortcut, might as well take it on the first lap. It's different to your European circuits, which the Joker is not a shortcut. It's the long way around, and that's why you save it for the final lap. So interesting decision for Sage Karam, who's... Oh, that looked like a drifting event for a second as they both were in some sequential movements into the bowling alley, through the chute. To the Joker goes Karam, and to the lead.
Yeah, just as we saw in that previous heat race, Karam, 1 lap behind, takes the Joker, gets back to the head of your field. Tyler Meninga still in 2nd. Bilko Williams up there in 3rd place at the moment.
Bilko Williams, the Aussie. Very good personality is Blake. They love him over there at Nitro Circus. The crew say he's one of freestyle motocross's most personable, exciting, and dynamic rider. He's had some great stunts over the years. I love these guys because I'm not brave enough to perform any stunts myself. As Scott said last week, he's going to leave the stunt driving to Pastrana, and he's going to do the quick stuff on the racetrack as we watch some... Go on.
Have you got the driver's radio as well? It's all over the jump. That was a bit messy there. But over the driver's radio, Bilko Williams trying to just get into the head of Tyler Meninga.
We won't repeat.
No.
But as Bilko's got he's got about a couple of seconds. Now remember, you can pick up slowdown penalties if you cut the track in this section in the carousel, which can cost you vital time. But this is the final lap. We think Karam's probably going to win it. Here he is for Dreyer and Reinbold. The Pennsylvania native will head through to your feature race. Along with, is it going to be Tyler Meninga? That's what I'm trying to find out. Karam through. There is Meninga in shot. He makes it through too. Williams in third. It's not going to be enough for the Aussie.
Oh, that's a shame. Last lap. Ooh. Look at that. Lawrence through on the last lap up into fourth place, taking that joker. That shows how crucial that joker lap is around here.
And that is Mikey Lawrence. He's also new to the field. He's an off-road racer in Score International. It's a series of off-road racing. And that was a brilliant decision there to joker on the final lap. Into fourth. Critical grid position. Pastrana, despite having a clean event, only ended up in sixth at the end of the day as we move on to your final heat here for round number 5 for your All-Stars. Now, is it already going?
Already gone. Yeah, they've already gone.
That is the world's quickest grid I've ever seen in my entire life. We've missed the grid. Who in the world is in first place? We've got Brandon Semenak. We've got Connor Martell. Tim Stevens is in this. Bucky Lassick, who I love. And Michael Leach down the back of the pack for Lone Bro Motorsports.
Oh my goodness, that was the quickest one I've ever seen. But it is Brendan Semenak who's in the lead of this one. Connor Martell, Bucky Lassick, Tim Stevens and Michael Leach, they're all squabbling over that second transfer spot.
I'm just trying to think, did they just all miss the start? I don't know, did they all get false start penalties, or was it legal? That's what we're trying to figure out right now. We think the race is probably underway as the drivers head to the end of the first lap. Remember, the start here is through the middle of the lap as a few drivers take the joker. So technically the first trip round the joker is actually lap 0. So a couple of jokers. I'm just trying to establish who in the world is in this field. So that is Connor Martell who's taken the joker pull.
Yep.
And somebody else joined him.
Yeah, so that was Tim Stevens who took the joker. You can see on the left-hand side on the tower there. I'm just busy blaming Chris Leon for how quick that grid was. But anyway,
we're firing everybody here behind the scenes. That's what we're talking about as we head into turn. So this is turn 4 into 5 and 6 here at Sonoma. Paul, the entrance onto the jump, some of the drivers say is very difficult. It's much like, as we see a joker here from Brandon Semenak, who takes the lead, the Canadian. But it is one of the most difficult entrances, similar to Daytona.
Yeah, you've really got to get that car slowed down, haven't you, onto the joker, and you try not to take a wide entry to it, because any drivers that are behind you, they're still going to be absolutely full speed, so you don't want to give yourself an opportunity of having an instant like we've seen in previous rounds. But yeah, Semenak is under pressure here. Connor Martell, we've seen how good he is in this Invitational Series, but Brandon certainly putting the pressure on your race leader.
Now these two will advance. Oh, look at the back shot, Bucky Lassick. Remember back at Atlanta, Bucky Lassick flew over someone. Yes. As we watch Martell make a pass for the lead. Much like we saw with our sim racers 2 years ago, it was Stelian Chepelevsky and Johan Hart. They had some snake driving through here. That was a thrilling pass by Connor Martell, our pole sitter from Hell Lunkenbahnen last week.
Yeah, that was a good slide job there, just down the inside. Brandon Semenak, he pulled the handbrake a little bit too much, and the back end got out too far, and that's why we ended up. He ended up just gunning out a little bit wide, and that's allowed Connor. And Connor's checked out at the front of the field here as we head on to the final lap.
So still yet to see a joker from Michael Leach. Actually, I take that back. Michael Leach has actually retired that car just as I say that. So the Loneborough Motorsports driver is out, which means 4 are left. As Lassick is showing ahead of Tim Stevens. And they will have good grid position for your Marwin Sports LCQ coming up in a few moments' time. But Connor Martell and Brandon Semenak advance. So long as they don't butcher the final corner. We've seen that in plenty motorsport categories over the years. Brilliant stuff from Canadian Semenak, who advances and heads through to your feature race here for the All-Star Invitational. And I'm too scared to look at the results, Paul. I'm just ready to see the next race start. So we'll flick up the results on screen, have a look at home, and we're going to focus on your LCQ grid for your first of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. The first time we've had 2 this season. And it begins with Mason Filippi on the front row alongside Bucky Lassick. Mikey Lawrence, new driver this week, gets to start on the outside. That is not a good position compared to Norway last week. Here at Sonoma in wine country, it can be a deadly spot. Kevin Swindell and Michael Leach will start on the second row. Michael Leach gets a second go at it after retiring in that previous heat.
Yeah, this just gives you that other chance now, doesn't it? That last opportunity to get yourself into the final here. And these drivers certainly are really going to put it all on the line for this one. They want to make it to that final.
Well, here's the bowling alley in turn 1. Are they going to make it through? Are they going to score a strike? Got 5 pins. Who's going to make it on the other side? First of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. Brilliant jump by Michael Leach. He's up to 3rd from the back row. Bit of contact here, but to the lead is Bucky Lassick. Mason Filippi drops down to 2nd for Brian Herter Autosport. He locks up the rears into the braking zone, but Michael Leach almost turned around, keeps that Fiesta pointing straight.
I thought that Swindell was going to end up all up and over and rolling over on the turn there before the jump. That was impressive stuff to see, but Michael Leach able to stay ahead. And now, as we're heading towards the end of the lap, Lassick and Filippi, they do have that gap there at the moment at the front, but they need to be careful not to squabble each other.
Yeah, you'll lose vital amount of seconds. Here's the first opportunity to take the joker. It's a very difficult braking zone as Bucky Lassick heads there and looks to extend his lead. So that's what Sage Karam didn't do in the heat. And that's the strategy I do enjoy as Lassick now takes a comfortable advantage ahead of Mason Filippi. You'd think next time by Filippi would take the joker as Kevin Swindell, I'm having a look here. Kevin Swindell's in 3rd behind. Michael Leach has dropped down to 4th now.
Yeah, so Leach there, 4th. Yep, you are right. Lassick the only one to take the joker so far. I will say, it was a brilliant launch from Lassick, though, as well on the grid. He got his nose ahead at the start of the race. Filippi now taken to the joker. Swindell, what's happened to him?
Slow down penalty. So that is what we were speaking about, a slow down penalty for Kevin Swindell. And only 2 advance, we should mention, from this Marwin Sports LCQ to your feature race. It'd be a catastrophe if Kevin Swindell missed out, but at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Lassick and Filippi unless something goes wrong for either of those 2.
Yeah, they're comfortably out there at the front, aren't they? So they are really in a sure position. Although Filippi's running a little bit slow through that.
Oh,
in
no.
fact, he's got a problem. He has got a problem.
He's probably clearing the slowdown too,
Yeah,
Paul.
yes it is.
So Filippi now under pressure. He's taken the joker, so he can't take to the shortcut this time by. It's going to have to be an overtake out on the racetrack for Kevin Swindell. There's Michael Leach, who takes to the joker in the 4th position. And he's not going to... Well, he could stay close here and potentially make his way up if these 2 squabble and take each other out. Swindell, though, in this final lap, Paul, he's going to have to bully his way past because Filippi is going to make that car as wide as possible.
Yeah, this will be the widest Subaru that you'll have ever seen in your life.
And that's saying something.
Sure. No, these two put on a great display. Michael Lawrence is too far back to make the Joker count. So it's between these two, and they've got to do it out there on track at the start of this final lap.
Drag race across the drag strip. Oh, it looked closer in that shot, but they're actually nose to tail yet again. Bucky Lassick, great performance from him. Michael Leach close behind. Michael Leach has raced in ARX3 cross karts before he made the step up to ARX2. And we're just hearing word as well. He's run off behind the scenes. That's why you can't see him down the back of the pack. Oh, a pass for the transfer position. Swindell bullying his way past, just as we said he needed to do. That is going to be a transfer position potentially to your feature.
It's not over
One
yet.
last opportunity as Felipe shoves his way past. The two squabbler make contact, but we think Kevin Swindell has done enough. What a cracking scrap to end your second, or your first of two Marwin Sports LCQs.
My goodness, talk about throwing it to the inside. Wow, what a move. That is sensational. But there's the results. Bucky Lassick and Kevin Swindell, they progress forward to your feature. And here's the starting grid then. Bilko Williams, Arpin and Stevens on the front row, with Atkinson and Bonfonte in the second row of the grid, and then Travis Pastrana starting right there for Subaru Motorsports USA at the back there.
Paul, just quickly, what do we reckon? Legal move? I thought it was good and clean for Rallycross.
It was pushing the borderline, but it was a great move. I think Felipe's was more of a desperation move though at the end there.
I don't blame Felipe. You get bullied around like that, you're going to shove your way past at the final corner. I thought it was a cracking scrap, especially for Rallycross, as we're ready to go here for your second of two Marwin Sports LCQs. So Bilko Williams in the Team Yokohama car. He's going to be on the inside into the first braking zone. Arpin in the middle for Lonebro Motorsports. Tim Stevens, who is a journalist and editor for Roadshow, on the outside. He's in no man's land as we go green here from Sonoma. Arpin screams into the first braking zone. Lot of contact. It looked like your two Yokohama drivers took each other out, and then Arpin, the Canadian, somehow ended up in the wall all on his own.
They did. The two Yokohama drivers did get into each other. So that is incredible to start with. As you say, Arpin with damage, I think, as well. He's way off road. He's struggling with that car. He's trying his best to control it.
He wasn't even on the racetrack at one stage, as we watch a good squabble here between... Is that Bonfanti Jr. in the second position? He gets off to some good starts. Well, I say that. Last week at Norway, he didn't. And he's been shoved into the barrier there by Chris Atkinson, who has Travis Pastrana in third right behind. To the Joker goes Stevens and Pastrana. That was a nice shot. Pastrana sends it in. He's preparing for Gymkhana action, I believe, Pastrana. So that's some good practice there.
Yeah, that's certainly great practice.
And again.
Yeah, just throwing the car around there. So the front two taking the Joker. Chris Atkinson will wait. Oh, now will he have got himself a slow down penalty there, Jonathan? Cutting that much of the corner. He's just having fun out there, is Travis, isn't he?
He's got to be careful because Atkinson's made up the delta. And Atkinson makes his way past into a transfer position. As now Bonfanti Jr. Oh, he might have actually... Oh, is Pastrana trying to clear a slowdown or something?
Yeah, I think he got a slowdown from cutting the inside. Chris Atkinson has taken his Joker as well.
You just saw him in the back of shot. He's that far ahead of these two. So it looks like at the moment, Tim Stevens from Chris Atkinson. Tim Stevens has been very quick in Rallycross. And Steve Arpin is... Apparently there he is on screen. He's just making his way through. Somehow, Paul, we think Steve Arpins has made his way, trip from wine country all the way to Canada and back to California here in one race.
Yeah, he's not having fun out there. That car is broken, I think, after contact with the wall. Pastrana has been having fun out there, and who can blame him? He's just throwing it around now. He realises he can't qualify for the final. He might as well have a bit of fun out there.
Don't know what to expect next from Pastrana. Well, expect a bit of a yoink of the handbrake. He's a delight to watch, is Travis. It's great to have him back after his 1 week's hiatus last week. That's going to be a slowdown penalty, though. Whacking the anti-cut strip. This has been a brilliant performance by Bonfanti Jr., who we mentioned week after week races without the use of his legs. And he's also receiving a slowdown penalty too. So these two are having their own squabble for essentially positions that don't matter, because your top two advance to the feature race, which includes Stevens and Atkinson. But who knows? Anything goes wrong between the top two. The third position's right there, ready to go. These three, along with Bilko Williams, are in a critical, what I like to call the Stephen Bradbury spot.
Yeah, but look at Stevens there. Absolutely imperious. Nobody around him. Great run from Tim at the front of the field, and he'll be taking the victory here in this last chance qualifier. And the Moen Sports last chance qualifier. Oh, as there's contact with a wall for Travis, I heard in the background, but Stevens across the line.
So brilliant win by Stevens, followed by Chris Atkinson. After the Yokohama drivers, remember, took each other out on the opening lap. Good to see one of them advance at least. As the top two advance, like we said, the rest of them we're going to say goodbye to. For Travis Pastrana, for those that don't know, he actually does have experience in rallycross. He raced in Red Bull GRC back in the early days. Excuse me as I look at some hilarious wrecks behind the scenes here between some of the drivers after the checkered flag. We're going to take a break, though, quickly and have a breather. Paul, before our feature race, we talked about it being an inverted top 10. It's going to make all the chaotic start here at Sonoma, but I am quite looking forward to it because you've got Karam and Speed starting at the back, two of your quickest in the field.
Yeah, it's once again those two starting side by side. That's going to be tremendous. It's going to be fun to see them have to try and work their way through the field.
And it's all coming up on the other side of this. Don't leave us. We've got a cracking feature race coming up in a few moments' time. 10 laps of action. It's going to be a good one. Pleasure to have your company for the 2020 iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. And we're ready to commence our feature race. From Jonathan Simon alongside Paul Smith. And Paul, yet again, the action didn't disappoint here from Sonoma. And I've had some good fun here today. And we do have some good fun as our All-Stars battle it out in wine country.
Well, we always say that it's entertaining, these all-star races, and they've certainly proven that once again. Sensational stuff in the heats and in the Moen Sports last chance qualifiers, but now this is where they all take it a little bit more seriously, isn't it? This is where they just really step it up a gear and try. Yeah, they're out here to have fun, but they all want to win secretly.
Yep, so 10 cars in your feature, and it's going to be an inverted top 10, like we said. So Chris Atkinson will start from pole position. The grid here at Sonoma, and for those who will tune in for our sim races after this, we've got another hour of action for the best in the world on the virtual service on Rallycross. They're going to compete it out for over $25,000 of series cash and prizes. But the grid for both these events is going to be 3 at the front, 2 in the next row, and it's 3x2 until we round out a 10-car field. So from the back of the pack, it's Sage Karam and Scott Speed. Now remember, Paul, back to Daytona, where Sage Karam started at the back in 10th, and the seas parted, and what was it, 4 corners, made his way into the first position.
Yeah, that was one of the best starts I've seen of a driver ever. It was absolutely sensational the way it just all came clear for him, and he went, "Oh, right, thanks guys, I'll take this middle route," and went through, and that is exactly what happened to there. So it could show how quickly something like that to how the run here. But Scott Speed, I mean, he's shown it week on week. The pace that he has here in Rallycross makes him a tricky customer to beat here today.
Now, Paul, you talked about those starts at Daytona, which you said were entertaining. They were great. Do you remember back to Iowa and the feature race start we had there?
Yes.
And what do you think about it?
It was different.
You, Paul Smith yourself, double quote, said, "This is the worst start I have seen in all of sim racing."
Okay, maybe
it was chaotic. It was chaotic.
That's for sure. But that's the nature of that track. And the thing is, with the bowling alley here, as we're about to change over to gridding up, it's a very tight right-hander that they're going into from the start. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting way to start this one with 10 cars all heading that way.
It's going to be a good one, and we're ready to look at your feature race grid here from Wine Country in Sonoma. Chris Atkinson, the former WRC driver, starts on the front row alongside Kevin Swindell, who scored a podium last week. You've got a mix of off-road experience, from rally experience, from a motorsport journalist on that front row as Tim Stevens starts from third. Second row includes Bucky Lasek and Brandon Semenak. Great to see him back in action and great to see him in the feature. Followed behind are Tyler Meninga alongside Andreas Bakkerud in his first appearance, makes an appearance in the feature too. He's quite a delight to watch, the Norwegian. He's one of my favorites of all time in Rallycross. Connor Martel will start alongside those two on that third row. Connor Martel last week scored a podium. He's had a couple of them after his pole position at Norway. Not the strongest pace today, but he starts 8th for a reason. It's an inverted top 10, and that's why 2 of your best start at the back. That includes Sage Karam for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing, and Subaru's Scott Speed, who will start from the back and looks to claim yet another race win. If he does so, it'll be his 3rd in a row as we're ready to go green here from Sonoma.
Drivers waiting patiently. They've got to wait for the green light here, and these drivers get themselves prepared. They're all wishing each other good luck on the driver radio as well, that we can hear, those commentators can hear. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting start with all 10 cars heading down into that 90-degree right-hander.
About 10 seconds away from the start here from race control. Got Chris Leone, Matt Kalish, Tyler Hudson as well, all from iRacing in race control. Even the All-Stars need it, despite a bit of fun. 10 laps of action, 1 joker available for the drivers. We've got big points to hand out. We've got a feature race coming up. We go green from Sonoma. Good jump by Atkinson. Swindell, oh no, I say that, and it looks like Atkinson's been turned around in the Yokohama car. Absolute carnage. The entire field behind P3 is into the wall.
Well, that means that, well, Bakkerud, I think, is at the front of your field.
So, yeah, so it looks like Andreas Bakkerud leads incredibly, and we're just trying to figure out who is behind. It looks like Sage Karam has made his way to second, just like Daytona that we had for round number 1. Kevin Swindell in third. Behind them, I just saw Connor Martel. There he is in shot. Scott Speed is out of the race. That's critical for the championship.
It certainly is, and this is the opportunity that Sage Karam needs. Oh, we've lost Brendan Semenuk as well from this race. So 2 drivers retiring, so we've only got 8 cars out there right now for this one. 10 laps of action here, and well, that was a dramatic start.
And here's a replay going on. So this is of the start. Just as we're hearing that, we think Martel's taken the Joker, and he's into the first position. So the start here continues. We'll have a look at that later anyway. So here's the battle for the lead. So it's Martel from Bakkerud. Sage Karam's right behind. We're still unsure who's going to win this feature race. Karam makes his way past Bakkerud. Slow down for Kevin Swindell in 4th, but a critical pass by Sage Karam, who makes his way up to 2nd. Bakkerud doesn't take to the Joker, so he's still got that up his sleeve. But you have to say, at this stage of the race, Paul, Sage Karam looks favourite.
He's certainly a strong one, that's for sure, as they head into the carousel once again, sliding this car through. So Conor Martel, as we mentioned, he's taken the Joker. You can see that in the banner on the left-hand side. The Joker symbol is lit up, meaning he's taken that Joker lap. Right now, the question is here, and, well, the question here for you, Jonathan, is when do you take that Joker lap? Well, Sage Karam's pulling the trigger. He's going now.
Good decision, I think. Karam to the lead, and he might never look back as he takes the lead from Conor Martel. We are watching here. Is that Tyler Meninga, I believe, as he heads over the jump and across the start-finish straight, right behind Chris Atkinson. Chris Atkinson, remember at the start, I wasn't sure if it was definitely him. There's only one Yokohama car, but he had a bit of a technical issue, Paul, so he may have been blinking in and out, which caused the drivers to wreck around the Aussie as our race leader makes his way through. Look at the lead advantage he's got on Bakkerud. And remember, Bakkerud's yet to take the Joker, and he's still going to save it, I think, for the final lap.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that Bakkerud can do right now is just try and close up as much of a gap as possible to Sage, and to try and get that to a minimal gap. I mean, it's what, about 3.5 seconds at the moment, as we're seeing Martel, and that's Karam then. That's the moment that Sage Karam took the lead of this race.
Recently got engaged in July this year, and Sage Karam said he never realized how much planning actually goes into a wedding. He's figured that out. And
so this is a mistake there, right there. Conor Martel, that's how he ended up in 3rd place here, and that's how it allowed Andreas Bakkerud into 2nd.
Yep, so that was the replay up on screen there as Conor Martel ends up behind Andreas Bakkerud. This would be a brilliant performance from the Norwegian. He's got a string of 2nd and 3rd places.
Oh, Sage Karam!
Oh, Sage Karam's off! That's Sage Karam in the shot! That's your race leader! He's going to hand the advantage. Well, yeah, he's going to hand the advantage to Andreas Bakkerud. The Norwegian's now in the 1st position. What in the world did we just see?
He clipped one of the anti-cut curbs, it spun him around. Oh, he had to be careful of not hitting Andreas, and well, he just could not get that car back straight, so he's down to 4th place in this race. He's no joker lap. Swindell, Kevin Swindell, who's around? I was about to say, he's yet to take his joker lap here. Well, who's going to end up in these podium positions?
I'm looking at live timing and scoring, and Conor Martel, and the pictures don't deceive me. He's ready to potentially take a win, but remember, Bakkerud's got the joker lap up his sleeve. I would take it this time by, but he continues onwards and to the jump and across the drag strip yet another time. There's only a few laps remaining here, so it's Martel 2nd. Sage Karam is about, I would say, 3-4 seconds behind at the moment, and in the 3rd position. And if anything goes wrong between Bakkerud and Martel, he's ready to reclaim 1st, but that is a fatal error for Sage Karam, and his chances are dashed.
But this also goes to show why those anti-cut curbs are in place there. Bakkerud seems to be a little bit slow there. He had to take 2 attempts at going through to get onto the bowling alley, and Conor Martel is right there. We know that Baccarat's yet to take his Joker lap. Baccarat just, is he playing with him? Or is he really this slow?
Just remember, Baccarat does race in Europe a lot. And here's Martel going for the lead. This is not good for the Norwegian.
I think he's got damage.
Well, look at this S2S snake driving. Baccarat tries to find his way past. But remember, Baccarat's used to taking the Joker normally on the final lap. That's what you normally do from the lead, as he's got to slow down here. So for Baccarat, what that means is, as we see another driver off here in the back of the pack, but for Baccarat, that's critical. We think he's going to take the Joker this time by. Here's a replay. So that's Atkinson and Meninga. Baccarat in the background to the Joker. He's going to reclaim the lead ahead of Conor Martel. Here it is up on screen. And they're going to be alongside each other here with a couple laps to go. Martel tries to make the bump and run work, but into the carousel, it's Baccarat into P1.
And this is the final lap as well, so they've crossed the line to start the final lap. And I think Baccarat is just going to have enough. Martel throwing it to the inside, trying to make it work. Not going to quite happen. Try the cutback. Look at this. He's got the inside contact.
Contact between the two. Baccarat's been sent into the wall. And the stewards will certainly be looking at that. But it looks like Conor Martel is going to take victory unofficially at least. Sage Karam's right behind in second. Baccarat falls down to third with barely a Subaru there across the line. What an absolute scrap to end this race. That was indeed the final lap. Checkered flag comes out officially with the rest of your field behind. And that, I've got to say, Paul, is something I want to look again. That incident between Martel and Baccarat, but it was awfully close between the two into the tight turn 4.
Yeah, that was, I don't know whether he was quite alongside enough. We'll have a look back at that, I'm sure. But there you go, Martel to the top of your standings and takes provisionally the win. Karam second in the end of that after his mistake, with Andreas Baccarat in third. Kevin Swindell, good result for him, fourth ahead of Chris Atkinson, let's say. Tyler Meninga just ahead then of Tim Stevenson. Drivers who did not finish, Bucky Lassie, Brandon Semenuk and Scott Speed, who both got involved in that opening corner incident.
All right, we have got a number of replays to watch here from Sonoma, and I'm not even sure where to begin. The start was chaotic, but that incident between Martel and Baccarat is something that everybody will be talking about. And we'll begin here with that incident. This is for the race victory on the final lap. It took some time for the graphic to update, so that's why I thought it was 2 laps to go. But here they go into turn 4. Oh, you've got to say very forceful from Conor Martel.
It doesn't look good, that one. It really doesn't. He's only at the rear bumper, in my opinion, there. So I don't think he's quite alongside enough. But it's not for us to decide at the end of the day, Jonathan. That's up to the series organisers.
No, definitely not. That race start as well was something that we don't know what to unfold there. We think everybody in that field crash. We even think Johan Kristoffersen, he wasn't even racing today. I tell you what, he was probably in that wreck as well. There were so many drivers involved. As we'll take a look at all of that and speak to your top 3 too. We're going to speak to all these drivers, try and unfold what in the world occurred during that feature. Although it was quite entertaining and I enjoyed it. It's all coming up on the other side of this.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive PRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Back live here from Wine Country in Sonoma. It's Jonathan Simon alongside Paul Smith, ready to wrap up What a cracking feature race that was. Don't know where to start, Paul, and where to unfold all of this. But it's all going to start with a chat with Connor Martell, our race winner. Connor, we think it's unofficial at the moment because we know the stewards have something to say, but what did you make of that incident with Bakarud on the final lap?
Yeah, we were battling hard, and he made a little mistake in that corner coming out of the dirt, and then coming into that turn, I was on the inside, and to me, he came down a little bit on me, and I kept my line through the whole turn, and he kind of just came down, and he got spun out. But yeah, it was quite the hectic race.
Yeah, I did take a look at it live. From the angle we had, it looked like you were a bit forceful, but then I got a different angle during the ad break I saw, and it does look like he was trail braking into your line a little bit. Would you put it down to 50-50, you'd say? Or 100% him?
No, I think, we were battling hard, and that's what Rallycross is about. I went low and, had the speed coming into the turn, and he, for me, it seemed like he just came down into me a little bit, but, whatever the stewards say, I guess.
Now let's talk about your pace. Awesome stuff today. You didn't qualify too well. Remember last week you had pole position. This week you started down the order, but you've got to say that the testing's all coming off. It's paying off. I'm surely you've been putting in, I would say, Connor, and I'm not being sarcastic, surely hours and hours of testing time for this.
Yeah, I definitely practice as much as I can. I obviously have a full-time job, but after work, I try and do at least an hour during the weekdays. And then, I normally jump on an hour before, the race on Saturday and get some testing in. But I feel like sometimes if you drive too much on it, you start to overdrive, you get slower and slower. So I definitely like to have my breaks of just kind of hanging out and kind of starting from ground zero again.
Now, there might be a few fans out there who actually have not heard of you, Connor. You've had some experience in ARX too. Is there anybody in this field you've actually raced against on the racetrack?
Yeah, I've raced against Sage, Karam, and I think that's it for ARX too. And Michael Leach, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yes, you're correct. Michael Leach did compete in ARX2 as well. So a couple of drivers there for you. Going to next week at Lucas Oil. How are you looking for that one?
Good. I love that track. That track's really fun. This track is the track that we raced today is pretty difficult, and you have to be very consistent because you can get penalties really easy. But Lucas Oil is pretty, really fun track, and you don't have to be as careful about that. It's a really fun track to drive hard on, so it should be really good racing.
No worries, Connor. We're going to leave you to it. Congratulations on the victory. We think you're going to keep it. Stewards are very relaxed in these all-star events for sure. And we're going to head from one Dreyer and Reinbold racing driver to another, and it's Paul Smith alongside Sage Karam.
Well, Sage, what about that then? Pretty eventful event here today for you, but getting yourself a second place. But what happened? You're up there at the front, minding your own business, and all of a sudden we find you spun around.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, that's for sure. I think it's just one of those instances where I saw the guys behind me kind of make mistakes, and then I decided I was just going to cruise, and you kind of like drive a little bit differently when you're not driving as hard, and I turned in a little bit too early, and the car just like hooked, and I couldn't get it to stop turning, and it just spun. It was like the slowest spin ever. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but these are really fun races. I love doing these with all these guys, and Dreyer and Reinbold came back with 1-2, and I think we both had spins in that race, me and Connor. So and then obviously I think the hardest part is just getting through the start with these reverse grids. I mean, we can be as fast as you can be and just not make it through the first lap, and your whole race is screwed. So it was one of those good starts again. I went from last to second, so I kind of just got lucky.
Well, I was about to ask you about the start because, of course, Scott Speed, championship leader, was involved in that and ended up retiring from that. But was that the case of just point your car in a direction, close your eyes, and hope for the best?
Yeah, I mean, with it being a right-hander, I figured guys were gonna shove it up the inside, and everything was going to kind of try and wash out wide to the left. So I wanted to just not go in super deep. And since I had nobody behind me, it was easier just to, brake and not worry about getting drove over. So I did that, and then sure enough, everybody just kind of pushed out wide, and mayhem happened. And the only hope and prayer you got from there is that they don't bounce off the wall and come back to the inside. So that's all I was hoping for right there, was just to get through that part. And then once we did that, it was, use your joker lap to your best advantage. I got the lead, and then it was just run consistent laps, and unfortunately I failed that part.
Well, that's it. A little bit more practice maybe, but heading into next week must be all good though. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't do any practice for this week. I did 10 laps, I think it was, today, and I should have spent a little bit more time. So hopefully next week I can get it dialed in a bit more.
Okay, well, thanks, Sage, and all the best for next time.
Yep, thanks, guys.
So great to have Sage Karam on board, who has so much experience from rallycross to IndyCar to even sim racing. He races for one of the best teams in the world, known as Coanda Sim Sport. But we're all wrapping up here for the All-Star Invitational. But don't leave us, because we've got another hour of action, and it is your best sim racers in the world. They're going to be racing from Sonoma. There's only 4 rounds to go in their championship. It's all coming up on the other side of this. Cannot wait, because the championship is oh so close. Thanks for joining us for the All-Star Invitational.
How much all of our crew missed racing. I need to challenge myself. I need to push myself against people that I can talk crap to. But now that racing's starting back up, makes you step up and go beyond what your capabilities are, and that is what I live for.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. What an exhilarating season it's been. The championship still up for grabs as we enter the second half of the season. Grab your sunscreen, because we're in wine country. It's Sonoma Raceway, located in California in the United States of America, and it hosts the 6th of 9 rounds for the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship, presented by Yokohama. All coverage today on the iRacing Esports Network. Jonathan Simon in the commentary booth here alongside Paul Smith, ready to go for another rounds of action. But Paul, we have got some prize money to hand out at the end of this campaign, and I still don't know who's going to receive what.
Yeah, this is an unbelievably close championship. It's been great excitement, fantastic stuff, and, well, I mean, Sonoma, what can you say about this place? It's a brilliant track to race at.
And we've had 5 different race winners to begin the season. We've also had 5 different pole sitters to begin the season. Still yet to see a man named Mitchell de Jong win a feature race, but the consistency has kept him up there in the championship charge. This is our first visit to Sonoma in the closing half of the championship. It's one of 2 visits here. We head to Lucas Oil next week and in Phoenix, and then we get a week's break before that final championship decider. I reckon it's going down to the final round, as we will look at your track details up on screen. This is Sonoma. Now, for those who are new to the circuit, it's the only circuit on the calendar with more than a 50% dirt split. It's 1.5 kilometers in length, 0.93 miles, depending on your units of choice. 6 corners, but we don't really use corner names around here. You've got the bowling alley where the start line is. That's the end of the carousel dirt section. You've got the chute just before the red little joker line. The drag strip is over in that little straight. That's the front and the finish straight, I should say. The carousel's the uphill section. It's a driver's delight, Paul, and it's a driver's favorite.
Certainly. Great race, and these drivers, they push to the limit as we see the prizes. They're all wanting to win that $10,000 championship win, but there's also the Yokohama Pole Award and the Dirtfish Rookie of the Year Award to be won here as well. So they're all getting to that second half of the championship. They all want their eyes on the prize.
And that Dirtfish Rookie of the Year will currently go to Joni Ollikainen. At the moment, he's the current leader in the point standings. It's awarded to the highest rookie in the standings, and the prize is a 3-day course at the Dirtfish Rally School near Seattle in Washington. Here's the point system up on screen. 6 points for the pole sitter in qualifying. A hat trick in rallycross, Paul, is when a driver scores pole position, a heat victory, and a feature win. And we've had 4 of those in a row since round 2. We could have 5 for the first time in series history today. Yeah,
this is a record-breaking series, isn't it? It's definitely been a good season so far, and you never know. But there's the championship standings right now, as they are, and John Robertson still in the lead of that one. But look at how that gap has closed up there. Second place, Mitchell de Jong, and then Johan Hart a further 18. He's 18 points behind your championship leader, but it's also that top 10, the red figure next to it. That's how far the top 10 automatic qualifiers, and you can see Tommy Mäkinen, the first one outside of the automatic qualification, places 3 points behind. Still plenty of points to be had here.
Yeah, the top 10 retain their World Championship license for next year. They don't have to go through a qualifying series. You may notice Rasmus Toivonen in 8th. He'll be absent today. He's actually serving military service for Finland and unfortunately can't race today. He said he'll be back for the final few rounds. Johan Hart also looking for the championship for Team Yokohama. He's right behind Robertson and de Jong. Critically for Robertson, he's the only driver to make every feature race this season out of your field. Consistency pays off no matter what point system you use. But for Mitchell de Jong, will it be a Jonny Weeman like we saw in Red Bull GRC back in 2014? A championship without a feature race win. Here's the format for today. We're going to have 4 heat races, the top 2 from each advance. That gives us 8 drivers in your feature, 2 Marwin Sports LCQs, also known as last chance qualifiers, and those consolation races will be the final chance for the rest of the field to advance to the feature. We're only going to take 1 driver from each of those LCQs who head to the race that pays the most points. Now, we've got some news this week, Paul, and we've got some keys to victory too. The slowdown penalties here at Sonoma is where I think is critical, definitely through the carousel section, and we saw that in the All-Star event.
We certainly did see plenty of that in the All-Star event. Of course, as well, the setups, you've really got to get the car set up differently slightly here because of it being more dirt than asphalt. And that run down the bowling alley into the first corner of the race from the start line is absolutely crucial here.
There is the Joker on the left-hand side. It's a 1.9 second Joker Delta. So for the fans at home who see the timing, look out for that today. That is the critical cutoff point. Here is qualifying for round 6 of the IRX World Championship presented by Yokohama. It's your best sim racers out there. And we've got some new drivers out in the field. And a couple of them include Luke Krause, the Canadian, who is signed to Lonebro Motorsports. We finally have 2 Ford Fiestas in the field for the first time. Luke Krause, the Canadian, who makes his debut in Rallycross. He's the 26-year-old from Nova Scotia in Canada, and he's got some experience in sim racing, Paul. This is a career-defining moment for him, his first World Championship appearance.
Yeah, and what an honour as well to get yourself into a World Championship. And yes, it's partway through the season, but you take the opportunities that arise to you, and he'll certainly try and make the most of this opportunity out there. Certainly looking forward to seeing him drive that Fiesta.
And another driver who is new today is Alex Bergeron. You can see him on the timing totem. He's currently in the 16th position. Garrett Lowe is actually racing at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's competing in some Legends racing, along with Lane Vacalo, who's joined us for some of our All-Star Invitational events. And that means Garrett Lowe was unable to participate in today's event. Last week I got confused. Garrett told me he was going to be at Atlanta, and I thought he came home and participated, just like Sindre Silva did after a few of his Billcross events. But it was actually the opposite. Garrett Lowe got a sim set up for himself at Atlanta and was racing from there, which is why he probably wasn't up to his pace, as Garrett Lowe recently celebrated his 19th birthday in the last week. So Alex Bergeron, we know, very quick in dirt road racing, but our pole sitter and our Yokohama Pole Award, Yokohama will be glad to hear this. It is not being handed out to a new driver. We've got our first repeat pole sitter. They don't have to split that trophy 9 ways. Tommy Horman will start from pole alongside Ed Carpenter Racing's Jake Robertson. Spaniard Adria Perez on the front row. Behind them is U.S. Air Force driver Connor Parisi alongside Henrik Krogstad, the RX2 champion in the FIA World Rallycross Series. Now, Bobby Zelensky in last, Paul. We have to mention there are a few drivers this week who have to miss out on qualifying due to some infringements last week.
Yeah, it certainly was. So they're serving those penalties as we speak. So yeah, these drivers serving those penalties right now. They'll be getting them out of the way, and yeah, it just shows to show though. If you do things in these events, the stewards will pick you up.
Yep, so Bobby Zelensky, along with the list includes Alexi Heikkinen, Sindre Silva, Killian Del Olmo, and Mitchell de Jong critically had to miss out on qualifying. Also race suspensions for Vicente Salas, Bo Albert, your 2 Andretti Autosport cars out today, along with Tommy Mäkinen. And so they will not be participating at Sonoma.
So we're all sat here waiting. We've got to wait for everyone to get onto the grid here. So a few more seconds, and then we'll be getting ready for the start of this one. But this is what I've been looking forward to here, Jonathan.
Well, this is critical right now. We're hearing word Tommy Horman's had some technical issues. Will he make the start of this race? We don't think so. Horman, who is looking to claim a championship, looking to claim a repeat win. He's our newest race winner in Rallycross. He's going to miss the grid. We've got to go for Heat 1 here from Sonoma. So we're going to begin without the fin. And it's going to be a battle between Jake Robertson and Adria Perez into turn 1 as they head through the bowling alley. Behind them is Connor Parisi alongside Henrik Krogstad. Remember, you can't take the Joker here. The first time you pass by, Parisi almost rolled the Subaru on his own.
Yeah, he was going for a move there, and Perez, it wasn't forthcoming there. And down into the carousel there for the first time. Careful not to cut too much there. You will get a slow down penalty. And we also saw with Sage Karam in the All-Star event how these anti-cut curbs can really catch you out and spin you around.
Our youngest driver in the field in Jake Robertson, will he have pole position for your feature race? This will be a dream event for him. Could he be a 6th different race winner? It's all too early to call, but critical for Zelensky here, who makes his way past Krogstad. He needs to make up positions. Remember, Zelensky's top 10 in the championship, who just missed out, unfortunately, as we see Perez take the Joker. Remember, Zelensky, during the past week, just missed out on an eNASCAR title. That was a thrilling final few laps in that series over at Homestead.
Yeah, so he wants to really just finish off his year, try and get himself qualified for the championship automatically. So he wants to keep in the top 10. He's putting the pressure here on Conor Parisi. Now, do you take that joke lap now if you're Bobby? If you feel that you're faster than Conor, you have to take that joke lap now.
Do the opposite, and he's done exactly that, Paul. So great insight there. And Zelensky will scream his way past and into third. Now remember, it's not a transfer position, but at least he's making up critical spots. So at the moment, it's Robertson from Spaniard Perez, who made his first feature of the season last round in Norway. Robertson, remember, had a race suspension for exceeding penalty points. These two are unlikely to come out of Heat 1. It's not something we usually see. Now, did I see Perez strike the wall there? It was awfully close.
Yes, he did. He's got slight damage to the left rear of his car. He should be fine, but it's mistakes like that can cost you big time here.
The 23-year-old rarely has a good event here at Sonoma. We saw him flipped on his roof last season in his rookie campaign as he just clips the anti-cut strips. We think you'll get away with that. You're allowed some minor cuts, but excessive, and they can hurt your race. So Joker's still left for your back three, or back two, I should say. Hallman's actually out on the racetrack, Paul. He's 2 laps down, so he's managed to fix his technical issues. And he's just out there to try and lap away, and that's a good attitude to have, isn't it, for the Finn?
Well, you might as well get the practice in with a partial warning track as well. Just get a better feel for how things are going to be out there.
The luck on his side. I
Parisi.
say luck. Oh, Parisi to the Joker. Good call. So Conor Parisi in the US Air Force Subaru will promote himself in a third. His teammate currently leads this heat. Krogstad takes to the Joker 2 on the final lap. And that rounds out your top 5. We think it's going to stay like this because the gaps aren't too close, although Zelensky is looming here on Conor Parisi. But how about this? Jake Robertson from Aylesbury in the UK. His brother currently leads the championship. Will he take his first race win? He came in blasé into this round as I was speaking to him this week, but the practice is paying off for the 15-year-old. He wins, and we'll start from pole in your feature.
Car ripped upside down.
Goodness gracious. Krogstad went for a ride. And he might have to reverse across the line. He's going to finish 5th anyway, though, Paul, because Hallman's a couple of laps down.
Well, I mean, that's one way of finishing the race there if you're going to finish 5th.
There, here are the results up on screen. Krogstad in the Hanson Williams Esports Subaru. What a ride. He still ends up in 5th. Not sure if he actually finished the race there, Krogstad, but he's classified anyway. There are the results. We talked about the top 2 advancing. Time to look at your Heat 2 grid here as we head into the second of 4 heats from Sonoma. And it includes Johan Harth. Now, last week we saw him pull off the racetrack. That was due to suspension damage. He said he could barely drive the car and just ended up pulling it off the track. The Frenchman starts alongside Joni Ollikainen. You might be wondering, where was Ollikainen last week? The said esports driver had a technical issue too and couldn't join the race. They'll be joined alongside Spaniard Daniel Matrani. We talked about the youngest driver in the field in Jake Robertson. Matrani is the oldest and will start on the outside of the front row. Garrett Maines on the second row alongside Luke Krause in his debut event in the World Championship. Alexi Heikkinen for Burton Kligerman Esports starts towards the back in the Volkswagen Beetle. 5 laps of action, ready to go for Heat 2. And we go green from Sonoma yet another time. Good jump from Harth for Team Yokohama. Ollikainen around the outside for Set Esports, trying to make a statement, but he's not gonna have track position into the final corner. Gets forced off by Harth, and now Ollikainen's falling under pressure from Garrett Maines in the Smithfield VW, who's made his way past the Spaniard. This is a hectic scrap through the drag strip as they enter the carousel for the first time.
Yeah, Maines then was trying to take advantage of that. Harth was well within his rights to take his line. So, yeah, definitely just a little bit of a touch there. But through they go then, and it's great to see these cars on the limit. You can see the different cars having to take different ways through the corners. The Subarus hanging the back end around a bit more. And Johan Hart straight away to the Joker. He's getting this one out the way.
Joined by Garrett Maines. Garrett Maines, who has by far been the strongest we've ever seen him in Rallycross. He had an awesome pro qualifying series. Those two are in your top two. But Joni Ollikainen, who is still in championship contention, despite missing that round last week, it was absolute heartbreak for the Finn, and he has race win experience back at Daytona. He's got a chance here to take the Joker. Paul, what do you reckon? Take the Joker this time by?
Yeah, if you're Ollikainen, just do it now. Get ahead of Maines whilst you can, because track position is crucial in this series, and there he goes to the Joker.
The 18-year-old from Finland across the finish line. Oh, did I see a car in the background? No, everything's okay. It's just my eyes deceiving me. I thought I saw something wrong for Heikkinen. Luke Krause in the last position in the Ford Fiesta. Good to see two Lonebro Motorsports cars out there for the first time this season. The Canadians keeping it clean. And he did receive this license as he was the next on the list of pro qualifying drivers. So at the moment, your top two who will advance are Johan Hart and Joni Ollikainen. Garrett Maines, who's taken the Joker, remains in third. We don't think Matrani has the gap. 1.9 seconds is what he needs. He takes to the Joker this time by. And that's Heikkinen we're watching. He appears ahead of the E-Racer GG Volkswagen in the fourth position.
Yeah, so Danny Matrani doing all he needs to do here and try and get himself the best possible qualifying position that he can for those Moen Sports LCQs. Garrett Maines, I have to say, in that VW is doing a good job compared to previous seasons. He's really come on, hasn't he?
Yeah, most certainly. The young American. Johan Hart, after what was catastrophe, remember last week during the heats and the LCQs. Paul probably had the best start I've ever seen in Rallycross. Remember in your Moen Sports LCQ until he had the contact with Taskinen. But it still remains in my eyes.
It's getting close. Look at this. Final lap.
Yeah, you're right. Look at the pace from the Set Esports Subaru. It's the final lap. We think Johan's going to keep the position. There's only a couple overtaking spots remaining. I say that, only 6 corners around this racetrack. Final corner, will Johan receive a lunge from the Finn? He doesn't. Has a mammoth lockup, but that's going to be it. Oh, he mucks up the jump, but he's still going to win the heat. And we'll start on the front row for your feature race. Ollikainen joins him. What a breath of fresh air for the Finn. The rest of them behind head to your LCQs. What did you make of that one?
Yeah, I thought that was good. I thought Ollikainen was maybe going to try and get a little bit of comeback there on Johan for the little touch in the corner before the jump. But all good, and those two going through to your feature race. And, well, what a grid for this one. Ilari Lamansivu, Otto Taskinen, should I say, and Jonathan Payet on your front row. Your grid with Matt Busa and Mitchell de Jong down the second row, and Sandra Silva back there as well. But that is such an interesting grid there.
Mitchell de Jong has never won at Sonoma in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. He hasn't won in Norway either, but that track was only introduced for this year at Hellankenbanen. Will he break the duck today in wine country? We're ready to go here for 5 laps of action. Remember, he couldn't qualify de Jong, and he'll have his work cut out from him from the second row. Absolute poor getaway from the Chad Reed car of Lamansivu. Taskinen in the Williams car was touched, but de Jong is turned around. De Jong is to the back of the field.
Lamansivu around as well. He's had contact. He's having to spin it back round. So craziness at the start of this third heat here. But Taskinen ahead of Silva by a mile in this series.
Norwegian Sindre Silva, will he transfer to his first career feature? Matt Busa is yet to make a feature. This is his third race of the season after replacing 2019 champion Sammy Matty Trogan for the rest of the campaign. This is an interesting heat coming up here because we don't know who's going to be where. We think Taskinen is safe. Bit of luck to Taskinen's side finally as he takes to the Joker. Jonathan Payet there is right ahead of De Jong. So Payet also fell into trouble. And remember last week, Paul, he had some luck to his side. Finally made his first career feature.
Yeah, certainly did get a bit of luck there. Oh, in the background there, Lemon Seaver really struggling with the landing, so must have a little bit of damage. But De Jong just can't get past Payet here. The question, well, do you basically just take that tactic like we saw before and do the opposite, the car in front, when it comes to the Joker?
It was weird because Lamin Sibu has only made 2 features, and he won the first round of the season. Was on the podium last week when he made the feature, but when the luck hasn't been on his side, it goes very bad. And he's currently in the last position. So Jokers, we've seen Taskinen take to it. This will be a dream transfer position for Sindre Silva, if he can make it. The young Norwegian who just signed with Fox Gaming, a Norwegian Counter-Strike team. There he is up on screen. And then you've got Matt Buser in third, who will just miss out on a transfer position, we think. So everybody has yet to take to the Joker except for Taskinen. I don't think this heat's over, Paul. I don't think you can call it this early.
Lamin Sivu's coming back at De Jong, by the way. Look at how close he's getting there, and De Jong has to be careful here. In fact, Lamin Sivu, he's decided to do the opposite, and he's going for the Joker.
Got to do something different to make amends for the poor getaway. And here he appears in a bit of a sandwich right behind Matt Buser, who just concluded his eNASCAR campaign as well. And full focus and rallycross. Oh no, that is a slowdown penalty for Lamin Sivu. The first one we've seen today. We saw a lot in All-Stars. We think it's going to be a little better in our sim races race. So Lamin Sivu now down to last. And he copped the shorts through again. We're just hearing he got another slowdown penalty too. There's Buser to the Joker. Sindre Silva's taken the Joker too. Jonathan Payet to the Joker. Critical for De Jong though, Paul. He's got his work cut out for him here. Grid position critical.
Yeah, he's just not got any pace. I don't know what it is, but he's off the pace of a couple of the drivers out there. So he's not, I don't know whether he's not comfortable or whether he's got a little bit of damage from that opening instant. I don't know, but definitely these drivers are definitely pushing on. But last lap here, and well, it's Otto Taskinen who's going to take the victory here.
Otto Taskinen, I can't remember the last time he won a heat. I'm going to have to go to my my stats sheets and check that, and it might take me a while to find out. Good stuff from Otto Taskinen, who's representing Williams Esports. Also drives for Vendaval Sim Racing behind the scenes too. Sindre Silva to his first career feature. Brilliant stuff from the Norwegian, and we're going to see a Nitro Circus car in the feature for the first time this season too. As we look at the starting grid for your final heat of the day, 5 cars in this one. John Robertson, your championship leader on pole, alongside Josh Fox. Let's not talk about Josh Fox's event at Norway. That was some unlucky stuff. Spaniard Marcos Matamoros racing from University today over in Sevilla in Spain. And on the second row, they'll be joined by Alex Bergeron, who's replacing Garrett Lowe just for this one round. And Kylian Delormeau, the Frenchman, starting from the back. Now, some news last week, Paul. Delormeau actually missed the grid because he had a technical issue, which meant that that's why we saw him missing from the LCQs.
Well, there we go, and it happens to everyone. Technical issues, you can have these little issues, and before you know it, you're out of a race. But yeah, drivers getting ready for the start of this one in just a few seconds' time.
You take a breath in rallycross like I do, and you'll miss the start of the heat. We're about to go here for the final time. Engines rev, lights illuminate. Green from Sonoma for the final heat. Poor getaway from the outside by Matamoros. He's going to fall to, I'd say, the last position. Robertson leads, though, ahead of Fox. Good start from Kylian Delormeau, though, the Frenchman. And through the jump, it's been chaotic here. Alex Bergeron now falls to the last position and hands back fourth to Matamoros.
I wouldn't count that one out yet. All this contact between Bergeron. Oh, and Bergeron goes flying through the picture there. He's ended up in the tyres. Contact with Matamoros into the carousel. But at the moment, Robertson and Fox are the two drivers in the hot seat right now.
He's the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars champion, and he would have been in a world of his own after that spin, as we'll watch the replay here with this incident between the two. As there is Bergeron turned around. He's in Sonoma, he's on planet Earth, and he's probably on another world right now, I would say, after that spin. He's so far off the racetrack.
Yeah, just look at that front two taking the Joker straight away. They're just trying to keep themselves ahead there, as actually Fox, he's one driver who hasn't taken it. He was in second place, so Delermo ahead of Josh. So Josh has either got to take the Joker this time or waits until the end.
Well, Fox will be delighted if he advances, because he's been to the LCQs in 4 of your opening 5 rounds. So to get a transfer position through a heat will be a breath of fresh air. As I've said that too many times today, Paul. Don't have a go at me, please. As Fox heads into lap 4 or 5, I think. I'm not sure when the timing will update. Lap 3, so the timing, yep, that's updated. Takes a bit of time. So Fox, I would say, I don't know, would you reckon leave it to the final lap? You do miss out on those extra few tenths you actually gain. Some of the drivers say the delta is 1.9 usually, but if you take it on the final lap, it can be around 1.6 to 1.7.
Oh, did he just clip the tyre wall there as well, Fox? Just on the exit down through the chute, up over the jump, and he's right there. He's in that grasp. He's within reach of Killian Delermo right now, 1.2 seconds. So the gap is there. I mean, he's not going to take the lead with that Joker at the moment as it stands. But second place is well within his grasp.
Well, Robertson, you can see on the left-hand side, the red banner, it means he's our championship leader. If you're joining us, it's also on the windshield, as you can see, on the Advan Subaru. And just like his brother, he'll advance to the feature. Don't get them confused. The 86 in the Yokohama colors is your championship leader. John, 2.5 years older than his brother and racing probably 2 rooms apart at the moment. What a story that is, as we begin another lap here at Sonoma and the final lap, as Fox will save that Joker for the final trip round. We think he's going to take the transfer position unless he cops a slowdown through the carousel and through the next left-hander and on towards the bowling alley, as we watch Delorme try to do everything he can. He's yet to make a feature as the Frenchman. Very surprising. Oh, and he smacks the barrier. And that is going to give Josh Fox an easy position to your feature. Not even close. Fox won't catch Robertson, but we know who's advancing to the feature.
Oh, that's a big error to make. And look at that, Delermo lost at the line to Matamoros as well. So Matamoros took a Joker on that last lap as well, and that little mistake there cost him 2 places.
Brilliant stuff by Matamoros. We don't speak about Marcus Matamoros much. He's towards the back of the field, but the Burton Kligerman Esports driver with 3rd position there. That is a brilliant performance. We're going to head to your first of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. Now remember, only 1 driver advances from this. 6 of these drivers we're going to say goodbye to. It's a 7-car field. Parisi on pole alongside Busa and Zelensky. But this is critical, Paul, because look at how they've been placed. 2 Subaru Motorsports USA cars, but only 1 will advance.
Yeah, that is going to be killer for that team. And De Jong, well, his chances of a championship are really hanging in the balance right now.
He is yet to win at Sonoma, as we said. In 7th is Tommy Horman. Let's not forget about the Finn. This could be a championship-changing Marwin Sports LCQ for one of your challengers. Parisi screams off the line. The US Air Force Subaru can't be stopped, but it can be touched. Somebody's been turned around in the back. I see a Williams Esports car, a Busa around. Tommy Horman's around. Mitchell de Jong is spun around yet again.
Yeah, and that shows how critical that one right-hander at the out of the bowling alley really does affect you at the start of this race. Rest of them running through, and Payet, oh, and Zelensky's got a slow down penalty there, getting battered out the way. But Parisi, once again, out the front, he's wanting to try and get himself that final spot.
Krogstad with a slowdown penalty too, so Krogstad's fallen behind Zelensky. I think Zelensky, like you said, Paul, was just battered out of the way, but Parisi so far looks like he'll advance to the feature if the positions stay as they are. Here are two of your championship challengers fighting for scraps in your Marwin Sports LCQs. I never thought I'd see this coming into Sonoma, as Hallman, who had the technical issue, this is a day to forget after his pole position, and I'm absolutely distraught for the Finn, and for De Jong, the luck. The bad run continues at Sonoma. We're going to forget about those two. We think they're out of it along with Busa. The transfer position is what we're looking for. Will it be Parisi or Payet?
Well, Payet is doing a very good job of catching up to Parisi. I thought he was pulling away, but this lap has been an absolute stormer for Payet, and he's 0.4 of a second quicker that lap, so he's really putting the pressure now on Conor Parisi.
I'm lost for words, man. I'm really lost for words. I didn't expect this coming today. Oh, well, that's an angry looking US Air Force Subaru and the Mean Machine that looks like a soapbox derby racer when you look at it from the front there. It's got a little mean front end to the Subaru. No one's taken the Joker yet in your field, so they've all still got that up our sleeve. Let's listen to Payet through the first few corners. So this is the carousel. Krogstad's taken the Joker. And here's where you can cop the slowdowns. Touching that anti-cut strip excessively. Did Payet do it that time round?
I think he might have got away with it. I think he might have just got away with it. If I'm Payet, I take the cut Joker. Well, he's not taking the Joker.
Zelensky's got to.
No, nobody taking the Joker. If I was Payet, and now look, Payet is in a battle with Zelensky on the final lap.
And Zelensky turns himself around and he costs Payet critical time. I
think that's a mistake from Payet, though, not taking the Joker. He's lost himself the opportunity to do something different to Parisi.
Yeah, you're right. And in hindsight, Zelensky wouldn't have tagged him either. So
yeah,
that could be a penalty coming for Zelensky. Unfortunately, I think Zelensky copped the short straw anyway. So see how the stewards decide on that during the week. Busa's retired that car. Here is the Joker on the final lap. Parisi advances to your feature out of the Marwin Sports LCQ, and Payet follows what could have been with the strategy. Even if you took it, Paul, I don't think it would have changed much, but I think you're right in terms of hindsight. Exactly. So there are the results up on screen. Hallman and Zelensky and De Jong. Cannot believe we're saying goodbye to them. Have a look at this Marwin Sports LCQ. 8 cars in this field. A lot of big names to go through. Garrett Maines is probably your favorite to advance. Kilian Delormeau, I've been very promised with his pace. The Team GRX set esports car for set promotion. Jussi Pinamaki will be glad to see at least Joni Ollikainen in the feature, but will he see another set car in Delormeau join him? Heikkinen down the back of the pack. Bergeron and Kraus are also in this, the two Lonebro Ford Fiestas. And the Lamon Cebu from the back. Paul and I are going to grab a glass of water, and we're going to enjoy the start here for the Marwood Sports LCQ. Here we go. The Smithfield VW, no one's even close to him. Delormeau's got a great getaway. 2 Burton Kligerman esports cars keep it clean. That's Matrani in the Nitro Circus Subaru. His teammates in the feature. Oh my goodness gracious. I can't tell which of the Burton Kligerman esports cars is on its roof, but that is Marcos Matamoros, the university student from Spain. I think I'm surprised our graphics team know who it is.
That was heartbreak to see that happen there. He got such a good start as well at that one. Got himself into second place, so the VW was certainly showing good around here because Garrett Maines at the moment at the front of your field. More contact, so that was the Set Esports car. That was Kelly Delormo who's been pushed around there, and he's taken to the Joker lap here as well. So drama further down your field, but Garrett Maines at the moment is out there at the front.
Through the drag strip they go. That's Alex Bergeron. It'll be a dream feature race appearance for Bergeron. This will be most likely his only appearance in the World Championship. He did try to qualify for Rallycross as well, and that's why he's been handed the position. Now, did Delormo, I have to reckon that's a slowdown, man, because he has gone waltzing over the curb. And again, he's gotten away with it, the Frenchman, but Garrett Maines looks to have sealed a transfer position. You just saw him duck into the Joker, and 1.9 seconds through the shortcut for the Virginia native. I think everybody else behind is fighting for scraps, don't you reckon?
Yeah, it'll just, but we've seen it time and again here today, though, haven't we? One little mistake, and all of a sudden you're right there in the thick of it. So Garrett Maines has just got to keep it clean and not touch any of these walls, but also not get himself a slide penalty as well.
Here we ride on board with Maines over the jump. This is the drag strip, up to 210 kilometers an hour on the run down to the carousel. And the drivers will use that grass there. It actually gives them a little bit of extra grip. That's why you see them hugging the inside and oh so close to the slowdown penalties. And then on towards the bowling alley, as I coined. Not to sound too arrogant, but there you go. And on towards the chute as we see Delormo fall into trouble. Now, did he run wide or was he punted off out of the way? The Frenchman's got a family of rallycross races in the esports universe. He competes in several esports world championships, even outside of iRacing, all on the rallycross side of the service. There's Lamin Sibu heading to the Joker. He'll appear right behind Bergeron in the third position. This is the final lap, and Garrett Maines should advance, Paul, out of your Marwin Sports LCQ to the feature race and start from the back. Yeah,
clear lead, 1.6 seconds in front. He's throwing it around the final few corners. He's enjoying it, and why wouldn't you?
Yep, those DNSs at the bottom obviously mean you failed to make your feature race at those respective rounds. Garrett Maines in the VW will make the feature race. Bergeron, what an impressive performance by him. And across the line, trying to figure out who was where. Alexei Heikkinen is officially third. They've classified him ahead of Lamin Sivu. So Lamin Sivu has ended up fourth. Those positions don't matter. Everybody else is going to go home, including Luke Kraus and his first World Championship appearance for Lonebro Motorsports. Matamoros on his roof. The Spaniard will go and enjoy a nice cup of horchata, I would assume. Maybe a beer afterwards too. But Paul, ready to go for the feature now in 5 minutes' time.
These drivers now, they get themselves a little bit of practice time, but they've really got to take advantage of that, because now this is where it all matters. This is where the big points are paid, and the pressure is really on here.
All right, time to preview your feature. On the other side of this, it's going to be a mammoth one. It's going to be a championship-changing one. Will we see a new race winner? Or will we see somebody repeat for the first time in 2020? Don't leave us. Massive feature race coming up for the championship. The 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. It's been one to remember, one not to forget from Sonoma here in wine country. This racetrack always produces some spectacular racing. It always produces drama. Today, Paul Smith, who's alongside myself, Jonathan Simon, on hand in the commentary booth, we have got 10 cars ready to go in your feature. But your Team Yokohama drivers of Johan Hart and John Robertson, they have been splendid this season.
Oh, they've been doing a fantastic job. And Johan, you know, yes, he had that damage last week that cost him big time in your LCQ. But, you know, he's got himself a good starting position in the middle of that front row right now. He's got to be careful. Jake Robertson, he looked into that win to a degree in the opening heat race, but sometimes luck strokes your way.
So here are the live points on the left-hand side of the screen. This is before the feature, which pays the most points. So we think De Jong is going to lose out on a maximum of 15 he could take from the feature at least, because you can claim points in qualifying in the heat. So he's going to have an advantage that will dwindle down even further. Will Johan Hart jump him though? Because Johan Hart starts from second alongside Robertson. Hart is third in the standings, and you've got a couple of Set Esports drivers behind. Joni Ollikainen could have been higher had he not missed Norway last week. And for Holman, after his technical issue, Paul, still fourth in the championship. But you'd have to say today, his hopes are dashed of claiming that championship trophy.
Yeah, that gap now is quite significant, and it's going to be difficult for him to be able to gain that back with the level of competition and with the rounds that we've got remaining here. You know, time is running out. Really, it's that front three that have the realistic opportunity of winning this championship.
Now for Jake Robertson, he'll start from pole position, and we haven't seen him in many features this season. But the 15-year-old, he would be the youngest ever race winner in our World Championship, eclipsing Garrett Lowe's 16-year-old and 9-month. I've calculated that for you when he won. That was his age when he won in Iowa in 2018. Obviously just celebrated his 19th birthday last week. But this would be a mammoth moment for Jake Robertson if he can get it done. But you know what? He's got his teammate from the Apex Racing team. They are teammates in the sim racing universe of Johan Hart in second. And Otto Taskinen, you know what? He has won a feature race. People forget that. It was at Lucas Oil last week.
Yeah.
His time is right now. He deserves this if he can make it stick around the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Williams eSport driver really does. He has a great opportunity here to back up last week's result with another really solid result and even possibly a win here. Jake Robertson, it's all about that start and keeping that inside line into the first corner here as well.
Good to see Sindre Silva make his first feature race appearance. The Norwegian, he's been working hard throughout the season. Had a good chat to him yesterday too. Certainly knows his way around Sonoma. Made a mistake here during the week, he showed me, which was hilarious, during a fun little race he had in the official series. But in the World Championship, he's a completely different beast. And great to see his growth throughout the campaign. Time to look at your grid for your feature race here for round 6 of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. Jake Robertson from pole. He's the youngest ever starter from pole in a feature race. He'll start alongside Johan Hart, who has 4 of these feature race wins to his name. He's won a few of these over the years. Otto Taskinen starts from 3rd. He's also a feature race winner. That's your front row. Second row is joined by John Robertson and Spaniard Adria Perez in his second successive feature race appearance. Joni Ollikainen, after he missed last round, he's not joined by any teammates this week, but he'll start on the 3rd row alongside Sindre Silva and Josh Fox. Josh Fox, with the luck turned to his side. Remember last year, he actually looked like he stalled, just had the handbrake engaged here at Sonoma off the start, and still ended up making it to your feature after that poor getaway. Good stuff for Josh Fox. And off the back row will include Connor Parisi and Garrett Maines. They promoted themselves out of your Marwin Sports LCQs. So critical at the start here for championship leader John Robertson to avoid trouble. And we're about 30 seconds away from the grid. Paul, I don't normally get nervous. There's no stakes on hand for me here, but I am nervous heading through the bowling alley here for the start.
Oh, I'll tell you what, these drivers, they will be amped. They'll be ready for this one. They'll be keen to get a really, really good start here. They want to get as many points as they can to take themselves into those final 3 rounds of the championship. This should be a good one right out here, right now.
10 laps of action for your feature. 1 Joker lap available for the drivers. They can't take it the first time they pass by. Maximum points on offer. Feature race for round 6 from Sonoma. And we go green for the final time as they scream through the bowling alley. Robertson with a poor getaway off the front. Johan Hart is going to snatch the lead in first position from the young 15-year-old into the braking zone of turn 6, which is usually the final corner. The lead is currently with Johan Hart. There's contact here with John Robertson behind. So Taskinen in 3rd. We've got Ollie Kynan in 4th. Now, I'm trying to find the order here. Taskinen's going to be shoved out of the way by championship leader John Robertson.
Oh, that was a bit forceful, was that one? And Taskinen's been bullied there as well, coming through the carousel. More contact, and Taskinen is around. You saw him in the background there. Absolute nightmare for him here today. But that was a very, very rough and ready start there, as I think it was Fox just trying to get out the way, and then all of a sudden 3 into 1 does not go.
Yep, 3 wide never works through the carousel. He almost collected Sindre Silva. So in the meantime, Johan Hart actually took the Joker. So he's got an advantage here over Joni Ollikainen. We'll check the graphic because Joni Ollikainen has taken the Joker too. Johan Hart could be on towards another career victory. Robertson's down to 3rd. Now, critically, if Robertson has the pace here, Paul, he could potentially undercut Johan Hart with a Joker lap. Or let's see when he makes it or uses that strategy to his advantage. He goes now.
Yeah. Take it early. He obviously wants to get back ahead of Ollikainen right now. They're going to be neck and neck. And Ollikainen had to back out of that one a little bit.
Will we see S2S Snake driving? The man up ahead, the Frenchman of Hearth, did that with Bulgarian Chepelevsky a couple of years ago. It's not a repeat of that. Here's Robertson and Fox, your championship leader in 5th. Fox took to the Joker, so Robertson will probably take to it next time by and be up off the podium. Doubt his brother will give him the position. That'll be a career best result for his brother. So let's see what happens here for John Robb, and goes to the Joker.
There you go, taking it while he can. And you mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast, Jonathan, how you were surprised that people weren't taking it straight away. Well, Johan Hart's obviously been listening to us on commentary, because he took that Joker straight away in the lead. And that's crucial, because then you don't get anybody potentially holding you up, as there's more battling going on here between Robertson and Ollikainen.
Yeah, so Jake Robertson 2nd, Ollikainen off the podium. I didn't expect John Robertson to be up into your podium positions. It could be an all Apex Racing team. Oh, man. I thought Ollikainen was about to take out your championship leader. Would have been a mammoth overtake.
Well, I think on the previous lap that Ollikainen actually got a slow down penalty, because he had a 41.5 second lap. So that's what's cost him with Robertson, John Robertson that is, taking that Joker lap. And now Ollikainen's been held up to a degree, I feel, behind your championship leader.
Good overtaking spot into the bowling alley. And all 3 of them remain in formation. John Robertson will be yelling at his brother. I can tell you they're rooms apart, telling him to get a move on here, because he's got a championship challenger ready to make a move. It looks like Johan Hart will probably take his 4th career victory halfway through this race. But who's going to squabble and who's going to sort themselves out where in your podium positions? Parisi is in 5th, by the way, just so you know, and yet to take the Joker. That will be a brilliant result for Parisi too, Paul. It'll be a career-tying 5th place position for him as we watch your 2 championship challengers squabble, and they're alongside each other potentially into the bowling alley.
Jake Robertson.
Slowdown penalty.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's still going to be a good result for Jake, and now it's Ollie Kynan and Robertson alongside each other through the drag strip.
Oh, your pole sitter, absolute nightmare for him. But Ollie Kynan and John Robertson are giving us some great entertainment out there. I thought that Yoni Ollie Kynan was actually going to end up with a slowdown penalty himself with how much he was cutting the course on this left-hander on the previous lap. But he's working it out and he's playing the percentages.
Interesting here, Perez has ended up ahead of Parisi. So yeah, Perez is in 5th.
He took the joker lap the previous lap. So Perez has just taken the Okay,
that didn't update when I saw it then. Okay, so then you got Perez in 5th, Parisi 6th. So that confused me. Robertson, though, is just ahead of those two. Perez is having a great race so far. So only a few laps remain here. We know who's in 1st. We don't know who's going to finish 2nd or 3rd. We think it's going to stay the same as we watch Frenchman Johan Hart scream his way through the carousel after his abysmal round last week at Hell, and it wasn't through his own fault. He was taken out twice. Second incident, you can argue, was 50% his fault, but the first one certainly wasn't. And he'll be on for a 4th career win here, Paul. His 2nd from Sonoma in IRX history.
Yeah, certainly really good performance out there. Sindra Silva we just saw on the screen as well. He's had he's done well to get to the feature race here. He's in 9th place at the moment, but he'll be looking to just have a solid performance and get himself some experience in this longer race.
Oh, Ollie Kynan's whacked the curb. That's his podium gone. But Robertson's right behind. Has he cleared the slowdown penalty in time? Oh, Robertson would have been jumping. The adrenaline would have been pumping for the 15-year-old, but he's still going to be off the podium. It'll still be a career best result, but he would have loved a podium. He would have loved a race win, wouldn't have Jake Robertson? But Ollie Kynan remains 3rd as we enter the final lap of the race. And all eyes on the Frenchman here of Johan Hart. The 22-year-old has raced in every single event. He's one of 3 drivers to do so in Rallycross. He's won in every season so far. This will be the first time he takes more than 1 win in a season. And he's ready to claim the championship away from his teammate. He's hungry. He's looming. 1 more corner to go. Johan Hart wins from Sonoma. And it's a Team Yokohama 1-2 as teammate John Robertson crosses the line in 2nd. And they celebrate with God knows what I'm seeing, but I like it. Joni Ollie Kynan rounds out the podium in 3rd. And that is a delightful sight to see. Your Yokohama drivers will remember this one for a while. They are the ones to beat this season. And what a championship-changing round we've had in IRX.
Well, Sonoma always gives us drama, and we've certainly seen it again here. And, well, hats off to that team Yokohama for an impressive display out there today.
Well said, Paul. And here are your final race results for the 6th round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. It's presented by Yokohama, and it's a 1-2 for the Advanced Subarus, who end up in the 1st and 2nd positions. Robertson, though, be good to be back on the podium. Robertson actually has been absent from the podium for quite some time. He hasn't been there since Atlanta, but he's had a consistent season. He's the only driver to make every feature race this season, and it's proving its worth. He's going to extend his championship lead. Joni Ollie Kynan in 3rd. Let me tell you this. What could have been for Ollie Kynan had he not missed Norway last week. He could have been closer to the charge, but he's got to finish ahead of the Yokohama cars. Still ends up in the 3rd position. For Robertson, a career best result for the Ed Carpenter Racing driver. How about the Ed Carpenter Racing cars in 4th and 6th? Parisi's had a season to forget in 2019, a season to remember here in 2020 as he makes yet another feature and a brilliant result. Good stuff for the Dreyer and Reinbold cars. 2 VW Beetles in 5th and 7th. The Subarus received a bit of a balance check with the power. Their power has been reduced just to help those Volkswagen Beetles out, and it's proved its worth for Perez and Maines, who end up 5th and 7th. A lot of testing between those two. Fox in 8th. Fox has actually spoken to me saying he thinks he's performing the best he's ever performed in Rallycross, and it's weird because the competition is so tough this year. He still ends up in 8th in this feature for Hanson Williams Esports. Otto Taskinen in the Williams Esports car in 9th after a collision on the opening lap. Still ended up ahead of Sindre Silva in the Nitro Circus car. Great to see a Nitro Circus car in a feature race for the first time this season and for the first time in team history. So we're going to speak to your top 3. We're going to wrap up everything. And I will say this, the championship, we said we saw a few challengers come out of the equation today in Horman and De Jong and a couple others, but it's still alive between your teammates. We'll see what they have to say about it on the other side of this.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive PRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
You know what? It's post-race interview time. Time to speak to your top 3 here from Sonoma. A classic round yet again. The championship still alive because 2 of your teammates are going to go at it in these final few rounds. One of them is your feature race winner today, Johan Harth, the 4th of his career for the Frenchman, the first time he is a repeat race winner. Johan, I'm always glad to hear your voice after a race win. You always sound so delighted, and there it is.
Me too. I'm always happy to hear your voice. Means I had a good race. Yeah, that was really good. Fuck,
dude,
what can I say? Nothing to say about that. Like, everything went our way today.
Compare that to last week. You had some great starts last week. Today, you had the pass around the outside of your Apex teammate of Jake Robertson. Man, that was a pass to remember, and it was all worth it. You won the race on lap 1, basically.
I won the race on T1, exactly, yeah. Well, I don't know what we've done with the starts in the last few rounds, but they've always been really, really good. We're always pulling almost a car length from everybody else, so yeah. That's a good advantage in Rallycross.
Yeah, exactly. We just saw the exhaust blowing off your Advan Subaru. Your cars were very quick today. I'm surprised the car didn't scream off in Back to the Future. You and John have been testing your butts off and testing your fannies off. And to be honest with you, your pace is almost untouched. Do you think going into these final 3 rounds, I think you guys are blasted away from the rest of the field. I think the championship challenge is between you and your teammate now.
There is still a few guys that are in contention. They're not that far. Mitchell and Tommy are just over a race behind John, so yeah. I'm not gonna say that it's almost done for us, but gotta keep an eye on them.
Yep, sorry, I thought you were done there, Johan. What's the difference? What's the difference between previous seasons? Because you've always been quick since 2018. Remember, you've taken a feature race in every year so far. But this year, there's just been something about you, and it starts, I think, from an attitude change as well. You've come in more mature than ever. You're quicker than ever on the racetrack. I think you're smarter than ever. You're better than ever. Your strategies are on point. I know you put in a lot of prep into Joker strategies. Anything else you think I'm forgetting that you haven't improved on?
You've said it all. It's consistency mainly. The past seasons I was quick. I was always up there in a few rounds, but I always had 2 or 3 rounds in the season where I was completely nowhere. I was driving really, really bad, having a stupid incident. This year I improved on that, and it shows with P2 in the championship.
And how about this? Last thing, for next week at Lucas Oil, I reckon it will be the cleanest start in any Rallycross history we've ever had. That racetrack there is built for starts, isn't it?
Not never happening. With that T1, there is no way it happens. We're gonna try. I can't promise.
Actually, I should ask too. Now, people don't know this. Is actually one more question for you. Your dad is actually a sim racer. He got you into sim racing. You want to talk about that a little bit because he's someone who's very passionate about your success.
Oh yeah, it all started when I was really young. Yeah, I've always been playing racing games. Really, the first type of game I got into when I was 3, 4 years old. I was already playing F1 games on my dad's PC. I've always been a huge fan of racing, and I think I'm here because of him, because he got me into it.
Well, there you go. Well said. Well, Johan Hart, we're going to leave you to it. Another win to your name, potentially a championship now, but you've got to fight with John Robertson, your teammate, who's alongside Paul Smith in today's post-race interview.
Yeah, John Robertson then, another one, a 1-2 for the Yokohama team. You must be delighted with that, and you also must be delighted that a few of the challengers in the championship were falling foul in the LCQs.
Yeah, just absolutely buzzing. That race was everything just fell into place for us. Like you said, Mitchell and Tommy, obviously they've not had the best race, so I haven't seen the championship yet, but I imagine me and Johan have a little bit of a gap at the top now.
Well, let's talk about that feature race because, of course, your brother was starting on pole position, and you were involved with him and Johan with the fight with Joni Ollikainen. I mean, that was getting quite close at times through there. Just talk us through that because that was great to see.
Yeah, so obviously I was sat right up behind Jake. I was getting a lot of pressure from behind as well. I was mainly focusing on not tipping Jake around because literally any contact and these cars just go around. So I was making sure to leave just enough room to Jake. Obviously putting on a little bit of pressure. Yeah, made a small mistake, which let me get through. But yeah, he still managed to come home P4, which was great to see.
Well, absolutely, but thinking the big picture now, we're heading towards the end of the season. We've just got 3 rounds remaining here. Are you just keeping the same attitude of just keeping pushing, trying to get the best results, or are you thinking let's get some good solid points as well?
Same mentality as every round, just taking it one race at a time. Really, don't want to focus on the championship too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the right approach to take. But, well, John, we'll let you get off and celebrate with your teammate on a fantastic 1-2. Congratulations on the second place here today.
Thank you.
We've got a delighted Finn, I hope, in Joni Ollikainen, who we're going to speak to next. Joni, first of all, we got you over there?
Yeah.
I tell you what, look, it's third position, but after the dilemma of last week, man, I mean, you'll take this one, I hope.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Of course, I'm not 100% happy because I think I had a chance to P2 and maybe even challenge Johan for the win, but I made 2 big mistakes and slow down, so it was impossible to challenge for the win.
I tell you what, though, like Joni, you're down on yourself, you're competitive, and that's why, you could still potentially win this championship. Who knows what happens in the final 3 rounds, but to start from 6th in the feature and then to win is almost an impossible challenge. So you can't be too down on yourself, can you? Because at least the pace is there. You know that one. And you know that if Tommy actually had some luck and didn't disconnect, it could be you or him winning next week at Lucas Oil, maybe clean sweeping the final few rounds.
Yeah, week no pace is there. I think I had a good pace in fresh track also, but I made big mistakes in qualifying, so good. And yeah, Tommy had again amazing qualifying, but got very unlucky. I can't believe how it's possible for that to happen, but yeah, I'm happy that I got podium in the end.
Yeah, I feel really super bad for Tommy. That was, well, I think the best thing to do, Yanni, is probably not talk about it, I guess, because that's one to forget. You last week, him this week. Surely next week now. The way this has worked in Rallycross, right, Yanni, this season is when people tend to have some bad luck one week, the next week they tend to go well. That's what I've noticed. So next week I'm expecting maybe yourself a little bit, maybe your teammate Tommy, maybe Mitchell de Jong and a few others, maybe to be up there for the feature wins. But it all starts with pace. What do you think you're lacking? Do you think you're lacking anything pace-wise compared to the Yokohama drivers?
I don't think we are lacking in pace, as Tommy showed in qualifying. I just made big mistakes in qualifying, and also in the feature, I think I was probably the fastest, but made too many mistakes, so yeah, that costed us. Went maybe, but I feel good about our pace in last 3 races. So.
Now, remember, this track was on the Finnish Championship earlier in the year, somebody told me. Was Lucas Oil also in the Finnish Championship schedule?
No, it wasn't, yeah. But in pro qualifying this summer, we had good pace in Lucas Oil, so yeah, I think we can expect quite good results there.
Yeah, lovely. All right, Yanni, we're going to leave you to it. Congratulations on third. You know, you seem disappointed, but hey, third position, great points for you. And we're going to leave you to it again for this week. Now, Paul, we've got Lucas Oil coming up for round 7 of the championship. That is a racetrack to remember. We've had some classic races there in the past. Josh Fox was a victor. Otto Taskinen. Mitchell de Jong has won there too. Who's it going to be in a week's time?
Well, I mean, it's roll the dice and see what you get come up as pretty much with this championship. But no, it's been a fantastic season so far, and it's all coming down towards the end of this one because these drivers really are pushing to the limits. But that was sensational racing that we saw out there today. There's the up-to-date standings right now. You can see John Robertson just 15 points ahead of his teammate Johan Harth. Mitchell de Jong 23 points behind. Today has been costly for him and also Tommy Holman.
Doesn't seem as bad when you think about it. You can only claim a maximum of 29 from a round if you score pole, heat win, and a feature win. So de Jong is still within a round of John Robertson. Hey, something goes wrong for John Robertson next week, and both Johan Harth and de Jong are right in there and in to capture potentially the 2020 championship. But it looks like it's down to those 3 in these final 3 rounds. Who knows what could have been for Olli Kainen had he participated at Norway last week. But it's going to be a cracker. I love saying that. At Lucas Oil in a week's time when these 600 horsepower mean machines will be back racing again. That'll be on the 14th of November. And that will be in 1 week's time, like we said. So it's round 7 of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. All coverage on the iRacing Esports Network. Thanks to the viewers, as always, for joining us for today's broadcast. You've always been awesome. Great to see some positive comments throughout there. And thanks to our series partners in Yokohama, Marwin Sports, and Dirtfish for their support throughout the 2020 campaign. Don't forget, Marwin Sports hand a gift pack to your feature race winner to every round of your 9 rounds for the World Championship. From Paul Smith, alongside me, Tyler Maxson, Chris Leone, Tyler Hudson, Drew Adamson from iRacing, and our entire production crew behind the scenes. Jonathan Simon on hand saying so long, where we crowned our winner today in Johan Harth, the first repeat winner for the series, and it breaks our hat-trick streak. We're going to say so long from Wine Country. We'll be back here in December.